favor. This is one more, please. Hello, and welcome to Otra, por favor.
Otra, por favor.
Episodio 48.
48, baby.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right.
Man, it's so good to be in the studio again.
In the Hyperware studio, coming
Right.
at you.
Live. Not live, but it will be released this weekend. Man, it's good. I know we've been we really been striving to record weekly, but sorry we can't.
Life gets in the way.
Life gets on the way.
But we're here now, so
You know, the good thing is we're here, and ready to just share some information that we have, share what we think. Today's episode, as you guys know, we discuss topics about football, vida, and anything that makes a culture. So our goal for today is going to be, first of all, we're going to talk about football, which is what we live for as guys. We're going to talk about the 2022 World Cup groups. They're already finalized, who made it and who's out. We're also going to be talking about the host cities that are now finally official. There's no more speculations of who's going to get it or not. Unfortunately, Austin didn't get it, so that's okay. In the future, we will. And then Austin FC, talk about that. And then before we go into any of the other topics, did you watch the USA El Salvador game?
I watched a lot of clips. I watched a lot of images. I didn't watch the entire game because I choose to not get frustrated over certain things in life, so I just kind of decide not to watch them.
Frustrated, like in what aspect? In which, like in the US, or just like the fans, or what?
In the aspect of like, what's the point of playing in that type of condition? I don't know,
dude. It felt like, for me, it was just it kind of brought memories. Like, man, it kind of gave a little bit of like humbleness.
Yeah,
just playing there, and I appreciated that because there's no reflection, like big reflections. All it is just a guy, like a ball with 22 guys running, trying to score on each other. I mean, these guys are professionals. Some are millionaires, but just the fact that it was muddy, and it just felt like, oh man, it felt like a Sunday league type of game.
Yeah, I'm sure it humbled them, and yeah, it is cool to think about these superstar millionaire players being humbled and playing in a very dangerous kind of muddy environment. But at the same time, you start thinking about players in the USA that are very prone to injury, that have a World Cup to play.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I criticize it, but we'll get into it, man. I'm excited. Other things we're going to talk about is a little bit on the we already touched on Austin FC. We're going to touch on a little bit of the Cultura side. Austin FC fan engagement with the recent event they hosted at the stadium with the meet and greet with some of the players. One other thing is the Johnny Colunga being the heartbeat of the Pachuca game. And then we're going to touch on a few other things community-wise. But this being so close to Father's Day, we have a little bit of that life side to touch on. We're going to talk about fathers and go into a few stories that highlight some examples in our lives.
Yeah, man. I have a couple, so hopefully you came in ready to share some cool stories.
I'm always ready, baby.
Nice. So let's touch on the group part for the 2022 World Cup.
All right.
Like this year's World Cup.
Yes, sir.
The first game that we saw, that was a qualifier. Wales defeated Ukraine.
Oof. And
that pretty much brings Wales to Group B, along with the Iran, the US, and England. So that's a very that's gonna be
it's a stacked group.
And it's also gonna have because if you look at it, Wales is from the UK, and then US and England. I mean, that alone, it's again, that's another game that's gonna be good. So there's I would say the group that has like a bunch of history behind it.
A lot of wars,
a lot of conflict,
a lot of international conflict.
Right. A lot of banter between countries. So I'm looking forward to it. I think for me it's gonna be one. I would say the group of the El Grupo de la Muerte.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
It's tough. It's tough.
Because I feel like Wales is gonna try to show up and give it to England.
Yeah.
And especially since they're like very close to each other and they're in the UK region.
It's like a clásico.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
A lot of clásicos, and then what? Another thing, like say U.S. and Iran, we already know like what has happened between both of those countries.
No, I don't know. Tell me.
A lot, man. Watch the news.
Something about nuclear arms. Or something?
Nuclear arms. Something about everything that can end the world in a single strike.
Yeah.
And then, what do you think?
No, I was gonna say I'm super excited for that group, but before we got into that group, I wanted to talk a little bit about the actual defeat of Ukraine. As we all know, Ukraine was kind of the Cinderella story of qualifying. I think they were being pushed just with hope and the hopes of a nation, unlike any others, just due to the state of their country being in an ongoing war with Russia. And one of the stories I read that I thought it was interesting, the soldiers, a group of soldiers signed a flag and sent it to the Ukrainian national team to put it in their locker room. And he asked them that the only thing he asked of them is that they do everything they could to qualify. So when you saw the end of those 90 minutes, losing with an own goal, shot, I believe, free kick from Gareth Bale, but it was an own goal at the end of the day. And at the end of the 90 minutes, how they just fell to their feet, it was just tragic. You can just put yourself in their shoes and imagine like how devastating that could be. And then on the flip side, Wales not being in the World Cup for 55 years.
Right.
I don't remember what the exact date is, but it's been a long ass time since Wales has been in the World Cup. So you see the triumph and defeat, like the two sides of the coin in life in one moment. That's the beautiful thing about football, that I thought was amazing and in display in that moment.
And I mean, I would say that brought a lot of emotions to just the Ukrainian people.
Yeah,
because you're so close to going to the World Cup in the midst of a war. You're not going anymore. Imagine Ukraine going to the World Cup with what's like in the situation that they're currently at in the country. It would have been a very, I would say, you always want to give props to teams. I'm a soccer fanatic. I'm always gonna be for the players. I'm always gonna be supporting the players. I try to not pick as much sides as I used to. I want to be a little more
neutral.
Yeah, more neutral.
Shithousery.
Yeah. So yes, that's one thing. So
unless it's against Chivas.
Against Chivas, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, that's a different animal right there. And then just Chivas. And then so for me is looking in that aspect and seeing. I mean, just like say that what if, how different could it be for the country? Watching the country, like watching the World Cup with us, we're gonna be watching it from home or from a bar. But imagine if they were in the World Cup, how would they be watching it? Where would they be watching it, and with who would they be watching it?
Yeah. So
a lot of the stuff for me, it's I think Ukraine has helped me not take a lot of stuff for granted. And then it's one of those things that I hope everything ends up well and something gets resolved, because you can only do so much harm to a nation.
Yeah, I hope something good comes out of it at the end of the day. And regardless, Ukraine did an amazing job getting that far and playing with heart. A lot of their squad, some of them being kind of not being active in so long, not having their domestic league. So just the fact that they made it that far and competed to that level and took it to Wales. Honestly, they attacked. They attacked more. I believe they had more shots. It was one of those things where it just wasn't
unfortunate.
It was very unfortunate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Hollywood would have written the story. Ukraine would have been in the World Cup, but this isn't Hollywood. This is FIFA, and we got Wales. I'm excited for Wales. I'm excited for that group in particular, and we had a couple of other last minute qualifiers.
Man, Peru was defeated in PKs by Australia.
Now this one really hurt. I don't know if it hurt you.
Man, I heard. I was watching it. I was actually
We're all Latino gang over here.
Yeah, I'm yes. I support every Latino team that's out there.
Oh yeah.
So, man, just it felt like they were very conservative. They were holding back on the attack. That's what I felt like it was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they scored. No, they didn't score a goal. They went 0-0 to
0-0
to the penalties, but it was just I wish there could have been more, because there was. I mean, Peru has players where they could do more.
Yeah, from what I saw, like Australia essentially parked the bus. It wasn't the Socceroos, as they like to call them. They didn't have a lot of football to propose. It wasn't a game where Australia played amazing. It wasn't a game where Peru absolutely dominated. But Peru, they have it's more of a football nation, so they propose more of the game. But
right.
Going to penalty kicks, it's always a coin toss. And I don't know if you saw what happened with the penalty kicks, but Australia ended up winning 5-4. What was interesting is some of the antics with the goalkeepers. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see the goalkeeper dancing around, but I didn't know about the antics.
Yeah, first of all, that goalkeeper became the most unlike person on the Twitter universe for sure. First, because he was dancing around like a maniac. I mean, if that's your tactic, go ahead, but we're going to make fun of you. But I think one thing that was pointed out, the goalkeeper for Peru had a water bottle that had notes about how certain players would kick their penalties. Mm-hmm. And during one of the first penalty kicks where the Peru goalkeeper was walking to his line and the Australian keeper was walking off, the Australian goalkeeper sees this canteen, this water, mm-hmm. and he sees the notes and he grabs it and he chunks it. He throws it to the other side. So the Peruvian goalkeeper was like looking for this bottle frantically, mm-hmm. and who knows what would happen? These are notes, but we all know that in a tense situation where you're literally depending on anything that can give you an advantage that gets taken away, if you don't have that mental capacity to overlook that, mm-hmm. it'll fuck with you. So I don't know if that had anything to do with him not blocking a single penalty kick, but it is pretty sad to hear. And it adds to the supervillain side of this Australian goalkeeper dancing around like an idiot.
Yeah.
And then throwing this water bottle, like not being sportsman-like. So, I mean, win at all costs, right? But at the same time, you're not going to get any fans like that. So I think Australia, what group did they go in?
They're going to go in the group
with France,
D,
Denmark,
with France, Tunisia. Denmark, and Tunisia.
Well, good luck dancing around France. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, imagine the brinquito imagine a penalty between Pulido or Neymar in this goalie, where Pulido does the brinquito.
Oh yeah,
and then Neymar does that step.
It's more of a dance-off than a penalty kick at that point.
I know, right? So now before we go to the next group, who do you think is gonna advance in Group B?
I think England.
Okay.
And my boys in blue, USA. They have to advance. They have so much talent in that squad. I know that the results haven't been coming their way, but I know that they have quality players, mm-hmm. that when they want to play, when they start touching the ball and trusting themselves and playing with confidence, they're dangerous. And I think they could actually, if they go into that group con las pilas bien puestas, they pueden hacer buen papel. Not to underestimate Iran. What I don't like seeing is people super confident, like, oh yeah, we're gonna fucking kill it. Like, come on, like, Iran is a good team. England is an amazing team as well. We know what England is. Wales, they're a hard ass team. They're not a walk in the park either. So, mm-hmm. but I have more hope in USA, mm-hmm. as far as our CONCACAF contenders go.
Yeah, it's weird how our side of the world has two faces, the overly confident face and that face, and where no mames, güey, no la vamos a ir vamos a ir de vacaciones. So I do want the U.S. to go, hopefully first place. And I really, honestly, I don't like a lot of, like, for me, is this group is gonna have so much banter. Like say, there's gonna be a lot of shit talk. But I want the U.S. first, and then Wales second. But I really would not like to see England go to the next round.
Why is that?
I don't know, man. I just don't. I don't think. I think for me, England has good players, but X.
What did England do to you?
They didn't do nothing. That's why.
You don't like it. You don't like the tea or what?
I think I've had a couple of teas, but I want Wales to just come out and be the dark horse in that group.
Yeah. You know what I think is funny about England? People make fun of them because they eat beans for breakfast. Mm-hmm. But we eat beans for breakfast, and it's fucking delicious.
Yeah, like
but their beans are sweet.
Nah,
that's why we make fun of them.
It's like and there's Asian desserts with sweet beans. And I'm like, no mames, con jalapeño, tocino, y quesito, un huevito.
Nah, I like English players because I watch a lot of Premier League. Right. So that's the only thing why I would want them to see them go on, because I know they're a talented squad that could play entertaining football.
Yeah,
but they have a pretty conservative coach in Southgate.
Yeah,
he's conservative. He doesn't have that style of play where it's full on attacking and just looks good to my liking. So who knows what's gonna happen, man? But this Peru not making it to the World Cup is shitty, because I know how passionate Peruvian fans are for something.
Yeah, man.
They're like some of the most passionate people I've ever seen.
Yeah, and like say I grew up, having like my perspective towards Peru changed as years went by when I got to meet more Peruvians.
Yeah.
And now we're diverting a little bit, but it's fine from the subject. But they say the best cuisine in Latin America is the Mexican and the Peruvian.
Oh yeah.
The jalea, they do a lot of like stuff that are tangy, So that's how I started to be more fond of them. And every Peruvian that I met, they're wonderful. So for me, it's not seeing them go to this World Cup. It's like, oh man, dude, like,
yeah, everybody.
The one less party not to have.
If you know any Peruvians, check them up. Make sure they're doing all right.
Yeah. So
because that could have easily been Mexico. Could have easily been any other guy.
Yeah, exactly, man. We could have been in the spot
for real, man. But so that group is France, Denmark, Tunisia, Peru. Group D.
So
Australia. Group
Australia.
D.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
I think Denmark and France are gonna go.
Yeah.
Now that Peru is not there, like I don't care about that group anymore.
What you mean, boy? You got France, man. What you talking about?
Man, just vatos, se creen mucho. Oui. Nah, I think France has a good team. Now
World Cup contenders.
Favorites. World Cup favorites. Now, however, there's that syndrome. If you win a World Cup, you're not gonna do well in the next one. So that could be one thing that can happen.
Yeah,
it has happened in the past 3 World Cups.
Right.
So who knows? But I'm looking forward to the Denmark and France game. I think it's gonna be good.
France and Tunisia might be a good game.
Yeah,
just because of the history there. But I don't really
colonization and stuff.
Yeah. Now, moving on, Group E. All right, the last qualifying match we had against Costa Rica and New Zealand,
and the game was played on Wednesday or Tuesday. And the Costa Rica defeated New Zealand, early goal, minute 2, and then after that, it just like the game went from like, oh, it's gonna be a good game to like, and not towards the end it got better. But
I think what we see in these games is not necessarily the most entertaining games.
Right.
It's 2 teams that want to win at all costs. So that's why you get shit like the Australian goalkeeper being a dickhead and using anything to his advantage. Yeah. You see people parking the bus. You see like early goals. You see people like just wasting time. Like you're just trying to get to that World Cup, man. It doesn't matter how you get there. It doesn't have to be pretty.
You just get there.
Just get there.
Man, so
Spain, Germany, Japan,
I
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
Los ticos,
Los
pura vida.
ticos. Anyway, I'm pulling for Costa Rica. Costa Rica is gonna be second place, and then they're gonna take out Germany.
Oh,
Fuck Germany.
really?
Not like like
I would
not just-
I would love that, but it's really hard, man.
here's
This is a hard group. This is a hard group.
we
man.
have Japan. I mean, that's another Grupo de la Muerte, but we have Japan. Japan can always give you un sustito.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is Grupo de la Muerte right here,
Yeah.
Group E.
Yeah, I would say.
Look at that. Look at
I
that.
mean, Costa Rica can, if they've done it in the past, I'm pretty sure, bien centrados, they can do it again.
Yeah.
So I would say for me, it's going to be Costa Rica and Spain going to the next round. And, with all due respect, I don't think Germany's going to make it to the next round, but they're probably going to end up winning the World Cup. But that's a tough one, man.
Oh man, I know. Yeah, I think Spain and Germany are gonna pull through this.
Hey, Cascante, ponte las pilas, vato, and you might get a chance.
Yeah, he's our stud, but
He's
who
our
knows?
hope to have someone in the World Cup. Everything falls on Cascante now.
Nah, man. But any other groups you want to talk about? Let's talk about Mexico's group. How do you feel about Mexico?
Same as they're gonna go beat.
You feel the same?
Same
As when?
last time we talked.
I feel worst.
Nah, so I could feel worse, but the thing is like Mexican players are so spoiled that ya cuando quieren jugar van a jugar. They're like USA players. I mean, now one of them they just don't care, and the other ones are like too overly confident. But sorry, if you look at it, I mean, Mexico knows how to play the group phase.
Who are they playing in the group phase?
Argentina, Polonia, and dude, who's the last one that we should not forget about? Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
So I got a feeling we're gonna tie with Argentina. I got a feeling we're gonna tie.
I don't know.
So-
man.
so-
have you seen Argentina play recently?
Oh yeah, I mean, same happened with Brazil in 2014, and then same happened with Germany.
Look,
Like Germany, like Mexico was the reason why Germany had a bad World Cup like the last time.
for Mexico to go on and for them to get that result against Argentina,
Mhm.
Memo Ochoa has to have a legendary match, which can happen. He does that a lot,
Exactly.
right? But you're asking for another miracle,
Which
Right?
in Memo I trust. Like say
and then you're asking for the defense to contain
Mhm.
that crazy attack with Messi.
But here's
Dybala,
here's
Di Maria,
the
Di
one
Maria.
the
Dude,
one thing.
Di Maria coming up the carriles with like our fucking shitty
Ya sea Jorge
Carrileros?
Sánchez and ¿cómo se llama?
Arteaga or something.
Arteaga. No, but here's the one thing, dude. It's like Messi, the group phase no se ve, and it could happen where Mexico comes enchufados and they come focused. They can literally make it to where there's a 1-1, game or 2-2 game.
Yeah.
However, that's only gonna happen if Chicharito goes to the World Cup.
Chicharito in the World Cup. I would love to see him there. I don't think it'll have that much an effect.
So now there's gonna be the thing is like these players are a lot about emotions.
Right.
So that's why the emotion of the motivation once they get in the World Cup is gonna be like for them their mentality changes, and they're gonna make you think like, oh man, we're gonna take it after they play a good game against Argentina. Now, it's not the fact that like say you can beat Argentina, you can tie Argentina. Is what happens with the other two teams when you play Poland and when you play Saudi Arabia. Because in the past, we only focus and we only want to beat the stronger team, but we don't care about the rest. For example, in 2006, we did a pretty good okay job against Portugal. We lost 2-1. We tied. We beat Iran, and then we did not pay attention to Uruguay, and then we lost to Uruguay. So in 2006, 2010, we beat France. We tied with South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And no, that's a World Cup we lost against Uruguay. In 2006, I'm trying to remember who do we play that we ended up tying against Angola.
Angola.
We didn't care about Angola, and we became overconfident. We were like, oh, we're gonna win, and then there goes the 0-0 tie.
Yeah.
So then, now if you look at 2014, I mean, that was for me. That's probably one of the best group performances I've seen them play. We beat Cameroon, we beat Croatia, and we tied Brazil. And with no hope of them doing anything, they ended up doing well. 2018, we beat Germany, we beat South Korea, se nos sube, but then we forgot about Sweden. Y nos meten tres. So Mexico's we're so like the Mexican team is kind of like the Mexican economy, very unstable. You could be very good, but it can also go to shit.
They're not scoring any goals, Richie. Like,
yeah,
no hay contundencia arriba. The midfield looks sluggish. Some defensive errors. I'm just not excited about this Mexico team. I hope they prove me wrong, but if everybody had the mentality of a Marcelo Flores, just how he goes in and lo muestra algo diferente, he plays with the energy, with that passion. He missed a PK, but I think he even cried about it. But like that just shows how invested he is in the game. You have someone like Diego Lainez coming off the bench. I'm not a huge Diego Lainez fan, but I know that when that motherfucker comes in,
he wants to do something different.
He wants to do something different. And
that's what
that's the thing. Like
that's when the ESPN Deportes they mentioned him like, hey, he's not playing, but he does something different, and he should be in the World Cup.
That's the thing, man. Like he's out there, he's not playing, but he's competing.
Yeah.
In his club, he's not getting those minutes, but when he comes here, he comes ready for action. So, who knows, man? But one thing I'll say about Messi, just kind of turning back to Argentina, I think they're one of the World Cup favorites, and it's the first time Messi is more comfortable playing for his national team than his club.
In the past, yeah.
Usually he's always been more comfortable club than national team. So this is his first time he can flip it around. Might be his last World Cup. And he's finally looking around and he has the pieces to win.
That he needs.
Before he gives so many great passes, so many good assists. Quien define. Now we got this Martinez striker, Lauro Martinez, I believe is his name. Lautaro.
Yeah.
This motherfucker's killing it.
Yeah.
He's a killer, dude.
He doesn't have the Higuain
or
Tevez or Kun Agüero. He's
got someone that's hungry and that's scoring goals. And he's got quality coming off the bench. He's got a solid defense. You know, they could be scary. They could be scary. And hopefully Mexico proves me wrong. But man, we'll see, bro.
Dude, se van a enchufar. Here's what I can see happening. Richie from November 2022 just came and told me yesterday. Nothing happened. I didn't smoke anything. Don't worry, or I didn't drink anything crazy. No, but you know what's gonna happen is we can see Argentina. Like say for example, what happened with Spain in 2010 when I believe they lost the first game, and then after that, pasaron el grupo motivados, and then they became the champions. I got a feeling Argentina is gonna struggle in the first game because yes, they're confident. Their Messi feels a lot more como que está más encajado con los jugadores que antes. But there's that first game syndrome for some teams like Argentina que no se encuentran. Especially if you have a team that, like, Mexico could just play, like, the 30th game towards them. Like, Tata Martino's Argentina. So he knows how a lot of these players know how they play because he coached them in the past. So he knows where the weaknesses can be. And if you tell, if you tell something like Diego Lainez Bay, all your job is going to be in the field is going to be to make Messi uncomfortable. You and Arteaga just pull his, throw him off, separate him, sepáralo, and make him just be isolated. Because I feel like Argentina's team now depends on Messi. Not like in the past, it wasn't as much as how it is right now because Messi, I feel like, is the one that glues everyone together. But the whole point is going to be to where they isolate him and then they take advantage of that situation.
I'm scared for when you see Messi coming down on the counterattack or Di Maria or Lo Celso or like you got some quality players, man. We'll see what's going to happen. You're hopeful. I'm not so hopeful. I'm trying to be more realistic.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still going to hurt me. I'm still going to watch the games. I'm still going to be fully invested into Mexico. Like I always support Mexico. I just, for the first time in, I believe, like my World Cup life, that I'm like,
I've been in this situation. I'm like, I already know this guy.
I don't think they're going to make it. In this group, I think Argentina and Poland are going to go through. Hopefully, I'm wrong.
Nah, I think, dude, like you're gonna have these guys that have not done shit for a while come through and play like they play the game of their life. Because a lot of these guys can do it, they just don't want to do it. I mean, that's it. That's just it. They're so spoiled. So van a venir, they're gonna come. They're gonna surprise a lot of people. Watch.
I hope so. Well, looking forward to 2026. I'm actually setting my sight more forward to that World Cup than this one. Because it's going to be amazing. It's going to be hosted here in North America, baby. Let's go.
Yes, North America.
Yes.
That's, like not only like America. It's going to be in the American continent.
There you go.
And America is not a country. It's the continent.
Okay.
So,
right, so who we got?
The World Cup was announced today. Not the World Cup, the site selections. So let's talk about
starting off with Canada.
Canada is going to be Vancouver and Toronto. Toronto Stadium is only 30,000 people.
They're expanding it to
45,000
for the tournament. So they got some improvements to do.
And then Mexico, El Azteca, the historical stadium,
the cathedral, the monumental.
I not to be biased, but I feel like the final should have been played there, or at least the inaugural game, because you know how much history this World Cup is going to carry if you have 3 finals in the same stadium after 1970 all the way up to 2022. That's 52 years.
Yeah.
So I hope. I don't think that's going to happen, but I really hope that it could be planned where the final can be at the Azteca, or at least the inaugural game. There's going to be Monterrey in el BBVA. That's a beautiful stadium.
Amazing stadium. Captures a perfect picturesque mountains in the back of Monterrey. Capacity 53,000. The other stadium, Estadio Akron in Guadalajara. Capacity 49,850. Very beautiful, very great modern stadium.
Have you been to it?
I have not been to it.
¿Y eres Chiva y no has ido?
No, man.
I've
been to Jalisco.
Jalisco, yeah.
I haven't been fortunate enough to go to Estadio Akron to watch a game.
And the thing is, all 3 of the stadiums are ready to host a game.
Well, I think Mexico City, Estadio Azteca has some improvements to do.
Yeah. They're going to close it down for 3 years, and they're going to improve the shit out of it. They're going to literally redo like a makeover of a makeover. Now, hopefully, they get it right, because the last time they switched something, it went bad to where the NFL game was canceled last minute because of the field conditions. And they booked a bunch of concerts in that time. So
they're going to pimp my stadium?
They're going to have to pimp the stadium, man. They have to, hopefully, the logistics and everything goes well. But, yeah, looking forward to it. I'm for me, I've been to the Azteca before, and it has a different vibe. Like, it's one of those stadiums in the world where I haven't been to any other stadium in the world, but when you walk in there, it's just differently.
I feel you on that. I've read a lot of stories about it. It's a historical place in the canon of football. We've had the likes. It's had the likes of Pelé, Maradona, to name a few legends.
Right.
Now it's gonna have potentially the likes of Messi, Ronaldo, whoever else.
Hey man,
New legends.
I mean, if they continue to take care of themselves,
Yeah,
who knows?
yeah,
So that's it's pretty cool to see the World Cup back in Mexico.
for sure. All right,
And
moving
then
on.
US,
USA.
New Jersey, the New York, New Jersey, the MetLife. That's 82,000. The AT&T Stadium in Dallas, 80,000, but it can be up to 105 if it expands.
Oh, oh shit, 105.
It's huge, man.
Jerry World.
You know, the one I'm surprised with is Kansas City, the Arrowhead Stadium. It's big, 76,000, but I'm like, why are you gonna have a game in Kansas? Why you don't have it in Las Vegas, like the new Allegiance?
Right. I know I saw a lot of DC fans pretty bummed out that they didn't have a stadium or a choice for the World Cup.
And then the one stadium that was a couple of blocks away from where I used to live, the NRG, is gonna be hosting a game.
NRG.
Houston, congratulations.
We got that retractable roof, man. Our stadiums can let the top down.
There you go. Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. That's a very. I mean, I've never been there, but hopefully I get to go one day.
I hear it's a really nice environment. It's a really great stadium, really great football environment.
You can go up to 83,000, I believe.
Yes, sir. Los Angeles SoFi Stadium
is back in LA, the World Cup.
Expandable to 100,000.
Yeah, man. Shit. It's a new one in Inglewood.
Inglewood.
Ahí está.
All right.
Then we have the Lincoln Financial Field. That is in Philadelphia. That's 69, give or take. And then
nice.
That's only, just for everybody to know 69. It is always a good night. Seattle, the Lumen Field. I really like this one right here. I like usually I like a lot of the stadiums that we have. It's like say this stadium right here is pretty underrated, soccer wise. But the atmosphere, from what I hear, it's in Seattle with the Sounders is badass. So well deserved. The San Francisco Bay Area Levi Stadium. That's in Santa Clara, California.
Nice.
And then Gillette in San Francisco, Foxborough. That's actually
Boston. Gillette
in
Boston.
Yeah. Did this stadium host a World Cup game in the past?
I'm not sure, man. I have to look back on that. I'm not sure if they did. They could have. It's in Foxborough, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a 70,000 capacity. I think that's where the Patriots play, right?
Yeah. And then the last but not least, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami.
Yeah.
Actually, I've been to the stadium before, and it's a very Premier League style stadium, like European style.
Did you see them announcing what cities they were going to host at? I believe it was like a FIFA telecast.
Yeah. I honestly missed it. I didn't get to watch it, but they did a telecast and they were showing.
I just saw one little clip where there was like Infantino and this lady reporter or lady host, and she was like, "Oh, Miami, can't wait to have mojitos there."
Mojitos.
And she was all excited about the mojitos, but it's interesting to see FIFA makes everything an event.
Yeah,
even them announcing what cities.
So here's the one thing in that stadium. It's like any other. It's like say very similar to Arlington.
Mm-hmm.
They're all not downtown, so it's kind of hard to get there. To drive through traffic and stuff. So hopefully, a lot of the infrastructure can get fixed because it's one of those things that they gotta have some public transportation improvements for cities that don't really have it.
Yeah.
That's all I would say. I think any stadium that really has it right now, their fan bases and what they show. I mean, anytime you see a game in these stadiums, it always seems like a good time. I wish the new stadium in Vegas would have been in there, because that would have been a badass. Having Darth Vader looking stadium just in the World Cup. DC's not gonna have it. Tennessee also was in a bid for a spot.
Yeah, Nashville. Yeah,
and I can't think of any other, but
Q2.
You know what? One day, dude.
Pour one
Hey,
out for
you
QT.
know, here's the one thing. During the World Cup, a lot of the teams play friendly games. So hopefully we can get a friendly game here. Un Perú contra New Zealand.
That game wouldn't be so friendly.
That would be.
I don't think so.
So hopefully we get a friendly game here.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get a chance to have some kind of luck.
Either way, man, we're super excited about the World Cup here in 2026.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're going to start selling whatever they can as
Yeah.
soon as they can, and it's just going to be a frenzy.
Which stadium would you be like? Okay, I'm gonna go there no matter what.
Ideally, El Azteca,
El Azteca.
just to go, man. But the one in Houston, obviously, I'm gonna go
Down
no matter
the street,
what.
yeah.
And the one in Dallas, I'll
It's 3
probably
hours
go
away.
there no matter what.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna take my PTO right now.
there you
Just reserve it and be like, in 4 years,
go. I'm gonna start putting $10 in my account every day.
I'm off this entire month. Nah.
Ahí está.
No, we're super excited. Hopefully, this does a great thing for the game of football in this country. And I think some things we're going to get into a little bit later. You know, I think the U.S. is doing a lot of things both domestically and kind of in this international spotlight to promote the game and try to improve it and bring it to a broader audience and make it truly be one of the major sports. And I think we're this close to knocking hockey
Hockey out,
out of the way.
and baseball could be,
No offense to my hockey fans, but
It's just
but I mean it's a beautiful game, man. Like
the thing is the growth of soccer in the U.S. is inevitable because of the diversity that we have in this country.
Yeah.
And then because, like, say, white people are also watching it and they're enjoying it, and they actually the MLS has become the league that people are actually starting to watch more and more, and people talk about it more and more compared to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, now you hear people talk about the games like, oh, Montreal against Nashville, it's a badass game. I'm watching it right now. You get to know more of the players, so of course that's gonna bring more attention.
For sure.
I think the MLS as the core of every team, it's doing a great job at giving every team the exposure they deserve. And that's good. It's good. So hopefully we continue to see that growth go to the right way.
Yes, sir. And with that, we're gonna go into the Austin FC
Man,
adversities.
in the pitch adversities, the ones that are not having a good time right now are Stuber, Maxi Ruti, Nick Lima, Rink, Komanich, to just to name a few. Stuber, 8 goals between friendlies and a regular season game. I hope we can learn from what happened in Pachuca, because I feel like that yes, it's a friendly. You're gonna try stuff out, but I didn't believe the team went in with the seriousness that you needed to do to play a team like Pachuca, because Pachuca was the runner for the last season, and they I don't feel like there was enough focus on it, and it was just okay, let's play it and get it out of the way type of thing.
Yeah. 4 goals in one half.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of goals to eat for Brad Stuver and the team.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts, and if these guys are having a rough patch, whether it be professional or personal problems, I hope that they can look at it with the mentality of a goldfish. Like they're the happiest animals because they can just forget things immediately.
Right.
Live a happy life. But like, we know the quality that Brad Stuber can produce.
Mm-hmm.
We know the quality that Maxi can produce. Nick Lima started off a little bit more consistent. He's been slacking. Alex Ring, he's having personal issues that he dealt with family-wise with his grandpa passing away. Now that he has been given that time to go and take care of his family and come back, Kolmanich having a rough patch as well. I just everybody has a different case. Some players with complete inactivity. Like Romagna, I believe, got his first minutes.
Romagna came back
in a long time, and
Chite played a little more.
Yeah, like
We also had Asensio.
it's tough. It's tough having a whole month. What was it? The whole month of May coming into June. With
You were off 3 weeks almost.
yeah, off 3 weeks, coming off a string of bad results.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest thing is to flip the switch and turn the game around. But this game against Montreal is a great chance to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
It's a team that comes at a very similar place in the Eastern Conference, standing wise. It's a team that gets scored on a lot, but scores a lot of goals.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells us that we're gonna have the opportunity to score, but we also have to be on our shit defensively. Yeah. So my man Cascante and Gabrielson, I hope, steps up to the plate with his leadership and defensive performances, and just really kind of holds this team together. Like that's and Alex Ring, man, he's our captain. He needs to do what a captain should do.
You know what I think we can do? We can keep Wolf in the field, start the game. He's been doing pretty good. We can just for this game, we can bring Alex Ring to the bench and let Martins play with Dani Pereira. Or Valencia. But
Valencia's hurt.
Valencia's hurt.
This is recent. I just found out.
Shit.
I think he's got like a knee issue.
Oh, bro.
Damn. Yeah. That sucks. It kind of takes a little bit of our depth, so I don't think that Ring would come out if Valencia is hurt.
Yeah, so now that changes my thought.
Yeah,
so hey Ring, we wish you the best and we wish you can bounce back.
Richard was sending him to the bench, and I was like, never mind.
No, I was the reason why I was saying like send him to the bench, so he can sit back and analyze the game.
Yeah,
so he can analyze what's going on and then come in with a completely different perspective, because sometimes when a player is going through a rough patch, you sit him down, you let him reset like everything that has to do with how he's going to perform. And when he's in a pitch, he already knows where donde está el queso. And, he's going to try to go to that place. So hopefully that can happen in the future where he doesn't start and he can just be able to visualize and study the game more. Because when you start the game, it's a lot different than when you're benched. And it's okay if he's benched. I mean, he's our DP, but that's fine. Now, one question is, we've had a pretty rough patch recently. Cecilio Dominguez's name is continuing to be brought up.
Yes.
Do you think it's a good idea to, okay, you know what, bring him back, but make him do anything possible to where he can reconcile with the fan base, or should we just keep him out of sight?
No, I think the relationship with supporter groups at least is severed. I think that for the most part, based on the statements that they've made, that relationship it won't get any better.
Mm-hmm.
Club wise, I think they need to give him some type of minutes or something if he is at the condition to play, because you're not just going to keep him on your squad.
Right.
You need to show him out to maybe get interest from other clubs to pick him up. Otherwise, you're going to end up losing financially. Either way, the club is fucked with the whole Cecilio thing.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's no good way to go about it. You're gonna piss people off no matter what.
Yes, you're gonna piss people off for not playing them, and we,
right.
Fuck it up financially, but you're also gonna piss people off coming in and play. I think it's at the end of the day, I don't agree with this decision, but I think you should bring him in because he's still part of the team. Let him play, let him, like you said, show up and do what he can, and then loan him out or sell him out or whatever it's possible to be done in his contract. But there has to be a decision.
Right.
That's because.
Oh, another thing. Sorry. don't mean to cut you off, Richie, but I think there were
How dare you?
some issues with Danny Pereira actually going to Canada, right?
Yeah. So
that puts us in a more difficult spot in the
Another-
midfield. Our
yeah.
midfield is kind of in a difficult spot right now.
So yeah, you're right. And I was just thinking like then he could be starting, but hey man, this is where
So in that case, Cecilio might, out of necessity, have to go.
has to go. Yeah,
Because some people are gonna have to fill in the spots. I mean, I know he plays a winger, but still,
I mean you can always bring Diego inside in the midfield,
I
but
don't know.
yeah, I would say it's a tough situation right now, and this also goes down to immigration reform. We need it ASAP. You know, people like Danny Pereira that you can always tell he's doing good things as a public figure. Give him the green card.
Mm.
That's why it's people like Danny Pereira. I mean, he's one particular case, right? But then there's many cases that are a little more in the ordinary, like lifestyle, where they've earned that pathway where they still have to pay a price financially, but you've done what you can and pay your dues to society. Hopefully that gets resolved. But yeah, man, the Danny Pereira's part it's tough if he doesn't go.
So with this game in Montreal coming up this weekend, we're gonna see if the team really took this time off. I mean, I saw a lot of unwinding. I saw a lot of good times. A lot of times on Lake Travis, out on the boat. Having a great time. That's good.
Yeah.
Recharge your batteries. But we're gonna see this weekend if they're bouncing back, man. Because if to me, this is like almost like a must-win game, just to get to set the boat back on course, man.
You're right, because the next game is going to be Dallas.
Yeah.
And that I mean, you got to be, when you play Dallas, I mean, every game you have to be ready, right? But by the time you get to where you're playing Dallas, like, you already know, like, what's going to happen. If you get blown
Especially
out this game.
With Dallas's forwards, they're coming
Ferreira.
fire, dude. They're coming fire.
Arriola, Ferreira, they're I would say this is the game where we need to pull together and like they asked me earlier, like the caption in the post for La Murga, told them, man, you just put something like no nos repite conmigo, no nos vamos a vencer, no nos damos por vencidos.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it is. I mean, this is the time where we as fans we have to pull for our people, and our people is their players.
Right.
And
I'm always going to pull for this squad, man.
Yeah, we have to.
Jumping back, just rewinding a little bit, with Mexico's national team, I will always root for them, and I always want them to win. I was just being realistic earlier.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Hey, I get mad at them. I get pissed at them, but I know how do you feel.
No me estoy dando por vencido.
Yeah.
But if on paper, this is what I see. So
I look at it like, hey, cabrones, you got potential. Hey, help me help you.
Nah, man.
No, sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But now, the one thing that the team is actually doing, the Cultura part, we're going to dedicate it to Austin FC, because they've been actually doing a lot more stuff to connect with the people, connect with the fans. So, yeah, we had to do a technical stop. But, yeah, going back to, we're in the Cultura part, and, yeah, the team is Austin FC. We're going to dedicate this section to them, because they've actually been doing a bit more to connect with the fans and also connect with, like, the Latino. So the first thing is they had a meet and greet event where several players were stationed. So you can get a picture or a signature. So a lot of the players, I mean, they're very, how do you say, like, approachable. They're not like superstars or divas that no me toques, nada de eso. Each player that you met, or everyone even I've met some of them personally, said hi to them, and for the most part, they're all very, they're very, like, not nice, but they're good people, and then they're not assholes. I mean, they try to say hi to everyone as much as they can, and acknowledge when you say hi to them. So it was good. The one thing that I would say, a couple of things, is just maybe making the event earlier so where people that are in line to get like a picture or signature from Triusi, they get a chance because they had to cut that one off because it was long. Um, sorry, but I ran into Alexis and it's the Chelsea.
Oh,
So
my brother and sister-in-law.
and I saw a baby Maya, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And I told them the only individual I want to take a picture with was baby Maya, and I'm over here taking a picture with her. And they're in Los Verdes and stuff.
Future U.S. women's national team player.
Or we could be, like maybe she's good enough that she can go play for Puerto Rico or Mexico. Is Alexis Mexican?
Yes.
Ahí está.
Yeah. She'll get that dual nationality.
They'll be fighting over her. So that's badass, dude. So that's good.
That's cool. You ran into them. Yeah, they went. They told me it was a very family. Well, it was a great event. They took their several months old daughter, and it was great. They had a great time. They took pictures with her and the coach, El Gaffer, Josh Wolf,
El Lobo,
El Lobo, and many other players. But I could just imagine.
From now on, sorry to interrupt. From now on, we're gonna refer to Josh Wolf as El Lobo.
El Lobo. Just imagine, like years from now, like children that were there will look back and say, "Oh my gosh, I was there, taking pictures with like the Austin FC squad players and team." Who knows, man? Who knows what legends? We're growing the legend over here, and that includes everybody, includes the community, and includes family. So, whenever you hear Austin FC is doing events like this, it's so good to hear because they're putting their actions. It's not just their words; it's their actions. They're putting their money where their mouth is, right?
Yeah, and it's not every So I'm on before I go into the other part of this cultura section. Not every organization is gonna be perfect. Austin FC is still second year, fully running with people. There's always going to be something to learn from it. We can't just be mad at every single thing. We have to enjoy what we can, and whenever it needs to be fixed, we can fix it. Now going to another thing that happened, which actually Mas Cultura helped bridge that that connection, was Johnny Colunga. He's known as being in the lowrider culture in the East Austin. He did the heartbeat, so that shows some representation in the game before Pachuca.
He beat the drum.
He beat the drum.
Did the heartbeat in the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's tight.
So that's pretty cool. For every Hispanic, not Hispanic, but especially like for every Mexican out there that has been looking for that representation, to finally see it, where you see the Mexican. I mean, we've seen it in the past when Tigres and Atlas came, but this one was Johnny Colunga being there, doing it. And then a nonprofit probably helped the connection, between the team and Johnny Colunga, which was Mas Cultura. That's a very good thing. That talks about the intentions that are trying to be done. They're trying to cover every space available, and give people the chance to connect with the team as well. So now here's the one thing. I don't know if I've seen it in other places, maybe in LA, yes, but have we ever seen someone that represents the low rider culture do the drum beat in a stadium before a game?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Never. So I don't know if never or not, but I mean, it's we don't know if it's happened or not, but the fact that it happened to us is something, very appreciative and a very good, like gesture from the club.
Yeah, bringing in real people that are active in their communities, especially the Austin Latino communities, as in this case. It's nice to see, and it shows a little bit of the ethos of what Austin FC is. We're growing that legend. We're uplifting our communities and celebrating that for what it is. And in this game, being a friendly against a Mexican domestic team, bringing in somebody from the same culture to be the heartbeat was only symbolic of that union between U.S. and Mexico, and kind of being here and having this like pretty great friendly opportunity. And it even went beyond that with the national anthem. You were there, Richie. Talk to us about.
So it's the second time that I've seen it. I don't know if she did it against Atlas, but Leslie Reynaga. She performed the national anthem for Mexico and for the U.S. And I tell you what, so doing one national anthem in a cappella is already hard enough because you can forget the words. You can slip up and be offbeat. We've seen it several times. However, Leslie's delivery of both national anthems, it was amazing, flawless. Um, and then from she's gonna record with us in July, so she agreed, and it's gonna be the second week of July. So the episode with her is gonna be released mid July. And one thing that I noticed is just when you hear someone sing the national anthem for two countries in the same place and full of people that like for that moment everybody felt like you're part of this right here. It felt like said with Leslie's background, how she became a citizen, and she's talked about that. It's very representative of the current culture that we have in Austin specifically. Um, Having someone like Leslie perform the national anthems the way she did, not messing up, it was good. That shows that there's care, and that shows that the team is wanting to maybe it's not gonna be all the time, but do something about connecting with the fans, especially the Mexican culture, because that's the one culture that a lot of people feel disconnected from. So just having that right there shows a glimpse of what's gonna happen if we get a Mexican player here.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation, man. I know that it's the organization as a whole does what they can or the most they can do to try to connect to our communities. But I know that when it comes to getting certain players, for example, in this case, a Mexican player, there's a lot of other things to consider with wages and with like capacity for a team. And we're like such a new team, designated players. There's like a lot of things to consider. So what I'm trying to get at is I find more value in like these community things and engagement that Austin FC is doing right now.
Right.
Versus them in the beginning just getting a high dollar Mexican player and then not having a squad that like had as much depth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would love eventually for Austin FC to get that have a Mexican player, a quality player. That would be awesome. But I can see why at this moment that's not the case.
And I think not being the case it's fine, because the club is showing like this right here. It's like you were saying, you're growing the legend, and the legend that we have from soccer in Austin. I mean, it's rooted within the Hispanic culture and more so the Mexican culture. So when you bring that to La Raza, to us, that's very appreciative. And,
for sure.
And I think when you do it with someone that actually has a true like immigrant experience from Monterrey, and then she get her green card, that adds more to the cherry on top of the cake. That gives it like faltaba un poquito más para el taco para que esté bueno, y ahí está.
Yeah, shout out to Leslie Reynaga. We can't wait to have her in the studio and record an episode with her and get to know her story and bring it to our audience a little bit more. Man, but I'm glad you were there, and I'm glad you got to experience that, Richie.
Yeah, man, it was cool. I mean, we lost, but just seeing that is kind of like
that was a silver lining.
But however, Leslie's also going to be performing at the 2020 this year's ACL.
Ooh.
So she's in the lineup, dude. That's badass.
That is really cool, dude. So that just goes to show the caliber of artist she is, man. I can't wait to hear about her work and what she's up to, and especially leading up to that 2022 ACL that I know a lot of people are excited for.
Right. So hopefully when she comes, she can perform a song. We're gonna be doing everything possible from our side to get stuff ready so she can do it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pitch that idea to her. But now we're gonna go into the live part of the episode, And we're gonna dedicate this one to our parents because El Día de los Padres or Father's Day is gonna be this weekend. Um, we're gonna share stories about our fathers. More so stories that you feel like, man, dude, like this one is so meaningful because it kind of I remember it, and it was so cool that I got to spend like this moment with my dad. So, do you have something in mind?
I have, dude. Me and my dad spent a lot of time together growing up, mostly centered around the beautiful game, football. So I have so many memories of him like showing me how to touch the ball, how to kick it with like con efecto, with tres dedos, how to head the ball. My father, when he played, Jorge Senior, he was a great finisher. He was a forward. So his specialty was finishing in the air, like cabezazos.
Okay.
So that's one of the things he taught me, how to head the ball, and that's, if you've ever played with me, that's like one of my favorite things to do, and I would have let to my dad.
Nah, so because every time I play defense against you, I know for sure that's the one part where I cannot beat you.
Yeah,
Don Jorge.
yeah, and I guess essentially what my dad, the biggest two things I learned from him was just that physicality, how to be strong. He always had this saying, you got to be fuerte como un toro. So that's kind of like how I do a lot of things. I try to be the strongest person there.
Yeah.
Whether it be physically or mentally. But another thing he taught me is whatever you do, be your best at it. Like, be the best. Like, don't just do something to go through the motions. Like, really put your heart and soul into it. And apart from that, man, I have some memories of just like playing basketball with him. Basketball is my second favorite sport.
Okay.
So we would always play a little pickup one-on-one, and just having that time that I started growing up, and eventually his body and my body like started becoming almost equal. And eventually I started to win those pickup games. But now just going back and seeing those memories is like, those are special times, man. And going to NRG Stadium, like we talked about earlier, Houston, watching La Selección play, Mexico play, tons of great memories. Him coming to like taking me to every tournament, every game I played when I was doing club. Sometimes traveling, 5-6 hours, 8 hours per week just to get me to go where I needed to go. All those little things, man. All that time is something that is special, and that I will always hold in my heart as a great moment. And I guess now, as like I'm a 31-year-old man. I look at my dad. He's, there's stages of life, and now I look at the stage of where he is at, like in a position where he has to look after his health a little bit more, and just seeing him go back, instead of doing the easy thing, sit on the couch every day and watch TV. He's like starting to go to the gym, starting to swim. He loves swimming, and he finally got that gym membership at the Y, and he's swimming 3 times a week. He's like sending me selfies and stuff. That gets me really happy, and I'm really proud of him for like taking care of his health and stepping up to play when it matters. Because I want him around for a long time. All my family wants him around for a long time. And if you've ever met my dad, he's very happy, kind of go-lucky, and kind of goofy. He doesn't take anything too seriously. Like, any adversity, any tough time, he kind of laughs about it.
Yeah.
Last thing, being from Houston, you get hit with a lot of hurricanes, a lot of floods, and our house is no exception. And one of the things I'll never forget is when we were hit with these, like, literally water in our house, we'd be taking pictures for insurance purposes or whatever. My dad would be in the picture just, like, smiling and shit, like, look at this. I survived Hurricane Ike. I survived Yo sobreviví el huracán. And he just had this attitude about him that even in a disaster, he can manage to just be happy that he's alive.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that me, my brother, my sister, and anyone that's spent time with him kind of takes away from him. So shout out to my pops, Jorge.
Don Jorge, saludos.
My dad. Love you, Dad. Cheers.
Another junior, right?
I'm a junior right here.
That's badass, man. I'm glad your dad is working out and he's going to the Y and get his swimming on.
Yeah, he's super motivated. He's actually starting to kick the ball again now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I haven't seen him kick the ball in years.
That's good. um, dude, because I see every time I see your dad, man, like he looks like fornido. He looks like
He's a serious faced,
serious face,
exterior.
but he also looks like como que un señor bien dotado. Like you say like when you see him, like his broad shoulders and like stand up high and pretty much like yes sir, let's do this.
Yeah.
But nah, he's a very cool dude, man. I met him a couple of times, and the times that I met him, he's it's enjoyable.
Yeah, dude.
But that's good, man. I have one or a couple. I think the first one is before back in 19. So a lot of the stuff that I mean, I form who Ricardo is literally from anecdotes from the past, and I was able to just little bits and pieces that connect everything. So there was in 1990s in Mexico, there was a late night show on Friday nights. It was called El Calabozo. And it was, this guy, Esteban Arce and El Burro Van Ranking. So El Burro Van Ranking is actually one of Luis Miguel's best friends back in the 80s cuando estaba ahí en se iban a Acapulco. And he was actually like shown like a character of him in the series Luis Miguel. But his guys were known for just being like the fun of everything in that moment. They're like in their mid-20s, early 30s maybe. But his guys right there, they were just fun to just watch. And they will bring out guests to their studio, and they will have they'll have people, but instead of having like say the fans just in the back, they will just have them like almost to the side. You can see the fans in the screen of the TV. But they were very vulgar. A lot of it was just albures. And the reason why I'm saying is because in that time, my dad, like we became Christians. So my dad stopped drinking and stopped, like doing a lot of things that he used to really do, which is like he used to party back in the days. And I remember us going to Vigilia, which would be from 10 to midnight on Friday nights. And then welcome to the house. And he was like, hey, vamos a hacer el calabozo. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. And so it's cool. Like that I remember that part, like just, spending time with my dad watching it, because that was before he, decided to follow my mom and cross the border so we can come here. But it was cool because that type of show brought ideas of how we can do stuff here. Bring guests, talk shit sometimes, have a serious conversation, get to know someone. If you ever check it out, it's El Calabozo. But I always remember it because those weekends where, Friday night we'll watch El Calabozo, and then the next day I'll have a game and my dad will have a store, and he'll give me money to go buy a burger, or he'll tell me, hey, comprate carnitas y me traes carnitas. And so that was like, we got a good, maybe a couple of months of bondage between him and I. And because my mom was already here, so my sister and my brother, they were living with my grandma. So that was cool. Like I always embraced that, and I always it's funny because every time I listen, every time it comes in about the culture or things about like how everything shaped me, it was literally moments like that. Like if it wasn't for watching those type of shows, then I don't know like where I would have ideas to do stuff like this, right?
Right.
But now it's pretty cool. Especially because as a Christian, my dad is trying to stay away from watching all this cosas del mundo to watching this, like stuff that, it's probably not the most educational, but goddamn, it's funny.
You gotta laugh, man.
Dude.
If that's anything that our dads have shown us is how to laugh.
Yeah. And then he became serious and we became a lot more Christian, and that changed a lot of things. But I do remember that one, like that the calabozo will be every Friday night.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And yeah, man, I think do I have another one? I mean, it was just maybe when he lost the keys in the Azteca the first time we went.
Oh, good story.
We stayed overnight and slept there. So, but no, dude, like with my dad, he's always been a very very like a type of person that doesn't judge anyone. Based on what they do.
Right.
Because Christianity can be super judgmental. And he tries to be more of a comprehensive type of person, like understanding, comprehensive. And I think that's where I kind of get that from him. Yes, I'm more opinionated in a lot of things, but every time I talk to him, como que me calmo. Like he always helps me calm down. So it's pretty cool. Every time I see him, he's always joyful to see us, and joyful because whatever decisions we've made in life, the fact that we're around, like he appreciates it. So it's good. It's good to to have my dad, and then the one thing I do, I always give him shit. Is just like, hey, vamos a aprender más inglés. That's the one that I'm always like, hey, you got to be more independent. Like that's
Yeah. I see that. I can see that. Yeah, my dad's a little similar in that respect. And on the subject of World Cups, kind of going back, like my dad, if it wasn't for him, like my love of the game might have never been the same. But I remember going up to the attic and like finding the VHS tapes.
Yeah.
And it was like, Holanda versus Italia in 1994 or some shit. And I would like clean them and I'd put them back. And I kind of started watching like all these old players. And one time we were in a place where like we couldn't figure out how to record on the VCR. So my dad got his like big ass camcorder. Like it was a big ass camera, like this big. You had to put on your shoulder to record the TV in the World Cup of 2002. So it was Korea Japón. So it was like 2 or 3 a.m.
Yeah.
We were watching Mexico Italia, and he recorded the whole thing on his shoulder. But that's one of the games I'll never forget because of the moment that I was having and the golazo, the Ricardo off the pass from Cuauhtemoc where he does that 180, that 180 header, and Buffon is just like a statue.
Yeah, so that goal was actually named the second best header goal in the history of World Cups.
Sexy ass goal
by FIFA.
I'll never forget that.
And you know who actually likes like a Mexican player? Cuauhtemoc. Driussi likes Cuauhtemoc.
Oh, he does?
He said it on Mate con Boss earlier, which is pretty cool. He's like, oh shit.
Hey man, people respect el Temo, man. He's a fucking legend, dude.
El jorobado de nuestros santos.
Shit.
But dude, so the reflection or do you have any other anecdotes or anything else?
No, man.
No.
Let's go to the question of the day, reflection of the day, man.
Reflection of the day. You do better at asking these type of questions than I do because you put us back in the mood. So how would it? Let's give it to us the Koke version.
All right, so
the poet.
We're having a lot of moments that we've discussed that people have been facing tough times, whether it be in their day-to-day, the professional lives, and really, we're all going to get tested. We're all going to have a moment where we face some type of adversity, and really the question is, what is the time that you've had some type of difficult moment, and what was the learning experience, and how did you get past that?
Dude, I think for me, ever since I came to America, it's been a difficult moment. I mean, not having a green card, it's just already moment itself that's prolonged. Hopefully that gets fixed soon. However, if there's one thing that I just knew that we had to do is just, hey, go out there and do your shit, like, and do it until someone tells you that you cannot do it anymore. I think that's been my thing, dude. It's just you overcome it, like say that part. A lot of the times you have to work twice as hard. The resources are not there compared to other people, so you have to sometimes pay for your own shit. Whether it's school or whether it's when you move out, like you don't have the help of your parents, but that molded you to be a person that's more independent. And I think that's what I embrace of my story, and I embrace everything that has happened. And even to this moment, yes, things hopefully are different one day and things can change. But however, I think just being in America as a now a DACA recipient, is gonna go, like say DACA is gonna be on hearings again about Republicans trying to challenge it in July. So another wave of you're with a lot of like, dude, just give it to us. Like, I mean, just give us that, not give us a green card, but like allow us to apply for it and do it the right way and pay whatever fine we gotta pay. But you wake up every day, you're like, man, uncertainty. But at the end of the day, you know, like, hey, hasta que me corran, me voy. So it's been 22 years.
Yeah, man. I've heard you talk about a lot of stories, a lot of things, a lot of experiences, man, and what you add to this community and this nation as a whole. Like, just looking at it, man, you contribute a lot in creatively and just culturally, man. And I think in all of our hearts, man, you're everything that defines America. You know what I mean? In our hearts, it just needs to be that fucking document, man. And our leaders need to step up and make the right decision and stop cowering. You know, stop being afraid of just backwards. You know, backwards thinking. You know, they got to embrace the future, and people like you are the future. People you are here. They're American. They've been here for so many freaking years, dude. So, man, thank you for sharing that, man.
That's why I go boat and Viva Beto.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, how about you, Koke?
No, man. Man, like, I definitely can't top that level of adversity, man. But you know, each of our lives, we're all facing something, and for me, in a lot of cases, has been kind of dealing with some internal stresses of pressures of whether it's like family pressures or professional pressures or life pressures. Like, many times I've had that desire, or not, just manner of being, where I close myself off and don't want to burden anyone else, and I don't talk about it. And in the end, what that ends up doing to me is making my problems a lot worse and creating more anxiety, and not resolving the issue at hand. So, for example, it can be anything. It could be like, you know, some imposter syndromes at work, some pressures with the family that you're not committed or coming through on certain things, or even domestically, you know, at home with my wife. Like, that, you know, everybody we all have certain issues, but talking about it, I found, has been the best thing with people of trust, people that are there for you, people that are in your corner, and kind of leaning back and saying, hey, I'm going through something right now and I need help. That's been my hardest thing to do in adversity. But when I've done it, that's how I've gotten through adversity. Yeah. And it's interesting. It's an interesting thing to discuss, because we talk about our dads, and one of the things my dad that I mentioned earlier, he's like, you got to be strong like a bull. But sometimes, if you just have that stubborn mentality where you're gonna get through, you're gonna push through it. Yeah. Sometimes it's not the best. Sometimes you end up working or hurting yourself way more than if you would have just said pause and gotten the help you need. So, yeah. And that goes with mental health and everything, like using your resources and stuff that are there and seeking help. So I know that's not really necessarily a story of adversity, but I think it's something that I wanted to talk about, because it's, for me, it was always comfortable to just focus on like, not to be a burden, but I think embracing that discomfort of putting yourself out there and being vulnerable is something that we could all learn from, especially as men. You know, we're kind of plagued with this kind of toxic culture of being macho and, like, you know, figuring your own shit and just being manning up, like shit like that. But when it comes down to it, man, being vulnerable, there's a lot of strength to vulnerability, and accepting your flaws and forgiving yourself, and like moving forward and seeking the things that you need to do to be responsible. To me, at the end of the day, being responsible, that's what being a man is. You know, not necessarily being the strong-headed guy that is stubborn and figures out. It's like being responsible for the things that you're going through in life, and at times it could be being vulnerable too. So there's a lot of strength in vulnerability.
So one thing you said that and it helps me, and I mean, because every time we hang out, we always end up just having conversations about life. But you're right, dude. A lot of the times, like us, man, we don't want to share like what's going on. Right. We need to share, but you don't know how helpful it is to let it out, because then you come to realize what you've done wrong. You come to realize what you can change from yourself and what you can do different. Um, it and I think whenever you hold it back, it's a lot more harmful than when you talk it out.
Right.
And you have to do it with people that you trust. And I think, like, say, like I've seen you whenever you do that when you talk and you express how you feel, and I've even done it with you guys sometimes. And dude, it is so helpful. Like it is so helpful just to let what you have in your chest out and be able to talk and express it, because a lot of men still don't have that, in them where they can express how they feel. Things are turning a little better, but still, it's one of those things that you have to. And I think, like, you always, if a guy, that the best way to literally get something that you want to share, you always want to do it with someone that already is either older than you, and you know that's gonna give you a good advice or just a good suggestion. Not no one, like, not giving it to, like, say, if we were married, like us, we're married. Don't go and talk about your stuff with other women. Talk about it with your guys. Talk about it with your dudes. But don't let it spill with other women, because that can lead to open doors where it's not supposed to. So that's one thing that we have, is that, and that's a knock all the time. Is like, man, because every time we're hanging out and I like, yeah, I have I like, man, you're always how do you call it? Como que you have your boys, so like, not just one. I have like 5 boys. Like, and then and then I was like, but look, here's the deal. It's good. You're rather me, like, be in contact with them, in touch with them, because we all look out for each other.
Right.
So, and it helps us out. And
Yeah.
then it's like, that's good, and which is good. And I think our wives see that from us. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she sees how we look out for each other, and she sees how we, anything happens, we're there for each other. Um, and we're grateful for that, because a lot of guys might not have this. So
Right. No, man, and I think there's something to be said about Richie and about our friends. We're people that we look out for each other, dude. So, um, it's never like I'm gonna burden you with this and you're gonna burden me with this. It's like, nah, dude, we're gonna help each other get through this. So, if we can embrace that more and kind of encourage that from people that we know or people that maybe we're not that close to, I think as a whole, as a community, especially as a community of men, we can be in a better place.
right, yeah, we can be less toxic, because dude, we're all men, we're
Bro,
toxic as fuck.
Everybody's talking about las tóxicas, pero
Las toxic now. We're the ones that we need to check on ourselves,
tranquilo,
dude.
tranquilo.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Dude, any closing things?
Dude,
Good stuff to share.
the MLS Apple deal, we didn't talk about that.
Man, hopefully that fixes the freaking ESPN bullshit.
ESPN
That app is just
Trash.
trash.
garbage.
How can you be the biggest sports channel, but you cannot watch an Austin FC game when they're away because of rights? I'm like, dude, you do everything you can to get those rights. You share the rights.
Right.
You can't just not let people watch a game. That literally was just the worst. Like, for me, ESPN is the worst app there is right now.
I'm actually kind of concerned about the implications this is going to have for like local broadcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend of the pod, Sonny.
Yeah, might be out of job.
Sonny was part of the local broadcasting team. Doing a great job, doing amazing work just with the broadcasting team. So I'm kind of concerned about what's going to happen to that side of his endeavors. I know that dude is busy with so many things.
Yeah.
I don't worry about him.
Yeah,
but it's something
like
that
Haley and then the other guy right there, I forget the name. But yeah, I hope they can find something for them, because you always want to do everything possible to where you can allow the people that already work in that scenario. Don't treat it like a Champions League type of deal where you have everything centralized and you only have this 5 group of people that are running everything. The best thing to do for Apple would be to, if they already have local broadcasting, hire the people that do local part as subcontractors. because they're gonna give you a lot more depth and they're gonna make your product better than whenever you just let people go. I think hopefully that deal changes to where anyone that say for example you can have your pre-game post-game talk in a studio, but you gotta have people that are in the stadium like present to talk about the game. It gives you a different feeling.
It does. Puts you more in that environment, man. All right, Rich, any parting words?
Dude, happy Father's Day to every father out there que se ha portado bien y ha sido responsable, y los que no vayan y su madre. Yeah, man. Also, Juneteenth is around the corner. So, how do you say Happy Juneteenth?
Happy Juneteenth.
There we go. That's hopefully we plan something better in the future where we have a guest that gives us a little more story in depth regarding Juneteenth. And there's gonna be several stuff going on. I think there's a Juneteenth parade in Austin this Saturday. And dude, I don't have much.
One more thing to plug. We have a concert at the Cactus Cafe with our previous guest.
El Maxi.
Maximiliano Martinez is performing at the Cactus Cafe on June 24th.
Yes, Friday, June 24th.
Friday, June 24th. Go check him out. It's sure to be a great show. I think doors open at 7.
Yeah, man. But without any further ado, thank you for listening to another episode of Otra, por favor.
Otra, por favor.
Se cuidan, se portan bien y adiós. Esto es Otra, por favor. This is one more.